I don't know if it would be on the internet or not, because I never go on the internet. Other than just to hang out a few hours every day. But interesting thing about Kobun, one of the things, and lots of stories and rumors and things, but an interesting thing about Kobun is I understood, not from him, but from other people, my son who was a student of Kobun's and also a longtime friend of mine, Michael Newhall, that Kobun didn't really want his talks, which were quite a few. I've listened to lots of his talks over the years and on tape and so on. Didn't really want them made into a book, although they could have. His students wanted to, but he didn't want that, and I don't know any reason why he didn't. I think they're working on that now. They're transcribing his talks, which is quite difficult. His Japanese or his English had strong accent. His way of talking was very soft. He's a very gentle person in that way. So it's like his teaching was more one person at a time kind of thing. Seemed to be more of that rather than trying to, say, spread things around or have a large number of people or publish a lot of books and be famous or well known. So I thought that was an interesting thing about him, and that he also seemed to meet people where they were at, which is something that my first teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, also was extremely good at not coming at you with everything he knew, but he was extremely attentive and interested in you, who you were, what was going on with you personally at that particular moment, rather like being observed very closely.
Could you say something about the forms? Obviously, they're a lot more rigid in Japan.
Yeah.
And we've kind of changed them to fit our situation. So what is it about the forms that are so important, but not so important that they can't change a little bit?
Well, like Suzuki Roshi said, I think, said in, I think it's in Nine Beginner's Mind, that we have a form and we follow that form, and we do the protocol unless we change it. And if we change it to something else, and then we do that. So it's not so much a matter of doing right as opposed to wrong, or making sure you do it a certain way, but that you have a form and that you respect that form. So the form is basically empty of anything you think about it. So it's just a form. And each time you do, whether it's sutra chanting or functioning as the doan or the doshi, or even just coming in here and bowing, there is an understanding that a lot of people miss when they don't follow the protocol. You can, if you come in, you can sit at home. You can sit down, face the wall, face the room, face the refrigerator. Take all the refrigerator magnets off, all your notes, and then just look at the refrigerator. You can do that. And that's good, the sitting meditation. You can read a book, not always so. You can read the Lankavatara Sutra. You can read Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. You can do all of this study. But this place here, or places like this, so there's a reason, and I can go into that, about why it is necessary to, all of the Buddhist traditions, in fact, all spiritual paths have some kind of structure or form with which to keep things together, keep body, speech, and mind, those things which want to keep separating out into a separate self, with a separate agenda, with a me feeling about everything. And so it seems necessary to follow some form. Now, when we bring a form from Japan, we're not saying that we have to follow that in a military fashion. You have to do it this way because that's the only way, and it's got to be done that way. And if you don't do it that way, then Soto Shu in Japan will, disenfranchise you or something. We know about that kind of thing that's happened with the Tego order, as far as not really going with this time structure that we're in, trying to go back and impose form as if the form were right. There is no right form. That's why you can't look at someone else's activity and tell whether they're following precepts or they're breaking precepts. You cannot do that. So, in this situation, since I'm the teacher here, I don't even know, I don't even evaluate it or think about it. I just, like the only thing we really require that you do when you come in here is stand up when the sutras are being chanted. And, you know, not bring your phone in and have conversations and stuff like that. So other things that are pretty obvious. But as far as the actual ritual, you're not required. On the other hand, you all should be doing this ritual. If you want to know how I feel about it, since you asked, you should be doing it. And the reason you should be doing it is not because it's correct. It's because it's about mind training. Please, don't be sophomoric, or should I say third grade-ish, about this. Come up, be an adult, and realize that these forms are created by a very, very aware and intelligent and insightful adults in ancient cultures about how can we create a situation whereby not only do you strengthen your awareness, not only do you read and strengthen your conceptual mind, but you strengthen your whole being, your body, speech, and mind as a matrix. This cannot be tracked by ego. And that's why ego is so paranoid about it. Well, I'm not really going to do those, I was a Catholic and I didn't like all that crap. So I'm not going to, or I was Jewish and I had enough of that stuff, so I'm not going to do it again. It's just, what you're basically, when you talk to me like that, I'm not going to argue with you, but you're basically telling me what grade you're in. You follow me? I don't have to evaluate it. I just think, well, it's too bad. We'll just wait and see how you do. So I try to be very careful, even gentle, about this. If you leave sutras on the floor, I will not correct you, but you won't see me do that. That's a form, and the reason is not because it's a piece of paper. From the Buddhist perspective, this entire world is sacred. It's completely valuable without any kind of contrast. It's completely valuable. Whereas the way we think in our 8 worldly dharmas of praise and blame, success and failure and so on, is some things are good, some things are bad. So, but in order to train ourselves, we begin to respect this body, speech, and mind situation. Chanting the sutras, even if you don't understand it, doesn't matter. Like I've said before, we can't hardly understand those when they're in our language. So we might as well chant them in Chinese or Japanese. Besides, it's not about the conceptual understanding. That comes from reading the texts and reading the commentaries and reading the teachings, whereas chanting the sutras is how we actually begin to synchronize body, speech, and mind. Have you noticed how you can drive from here to the next town? Once you get on the highway and you start down Interstate 94, you can stop thinking about driving, and you can daydream about anything, and the body will keep controlling, will help you. You can even pass cars and watch your speed and maybe even talk on your phone. Probably shouldn't be texting.
I think that's a bit of an illusion there.
What is?
Trying to text on your phone while you're driving.
Yeah. No, I'm saying we tend to, we can do a little bit of it, so we try to go all the way and actually just completely space out and look at our text. And so with that, what happens is you will die doing that for a while. So, but what I'm saying is the sutras are about taking that dynamic that is, on the one side, is extremely intelligent. The fact that we can, as sometimes people say, multitask, which is just a description, which is actually a lie. You're not really multitasking. I'm waiting for an argument here. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, all right, there are the forms, there are the Buddhist forms, but then we live within the culture.
We do.
And that culture and those forms somehow are going to modify one another. And that, see, I'm a little wondering about the title. Buddhism or Zen Buddhism in America.
That's not the title.
What is the title?
Zen in America.
Zen in America. All right, well then Zen in America.
Okay.
That seems a little, you don't say Zen in China. You say Chinese Zen or Japanese Zen. Why isn't it American Zen?
Because he's waiting for you to make a documentary.
Oh, okay. True.
Go ahead.
But, well, that's just, to me, there has to be this sort of taking of this culture and being added to all this other tradition. And then there are new traditions or new forms.
Is that a statement or a question?
Well, it's both, really.
Well, you're going to have to separate it.
All right. Is what is happening here new forms?
Yes. So the idea here is, in this temple, not in other ones. Other ones are more, I don't know if I'd use the word rigid, but
Tradition?
more traditional, and want to make sure they're doing as they're told, because they don't understand in the way that in a way that allows them to respect forms. If you're attached to forms, you don't know how to handle them. The only way you know how to handle forms is if